Okay, ladies and gentlemen, quite a few people have asked me, how do you mix? So what I'm going to do now is my interpretation, this is only my interpretation, of the first lesson in how to mix. In other words, if you haven't got the foggiest, this is the first thing you need to know. First thing is BPM, beats per minute. Okay, that's what it stands for. How do you count beats per minute in a record? Quite often you will find the new mixers will automatically do it for you. Some of them there's a little button, you press the button, in time with the music it will give you BPM. If you can't, or sorry, if you haven't got that facility, I will show you how to do it and then what is the principle behind the knowledge of BPM. Okay, right, BPM, beats per minute. What I'm going to do for you now, we have a record here on this deck. Very important, you have your pitch control center. In other words, it's got to be at, if the record is 33, it has to be exactly at 33 RPM here, or if your record is at 45, there's no point doing the BPM if your pitch control is not dead center, because you will not get the true BPM. Make sure it's there. BPM, beats per minute. In other words, every time I hear a bass kick, I will count that bass kick. As soon as I have finished a time on a watch, stopwatch, whatever you've got, of 1 minute, that's your BPM. I'm going to do 30 seconds, then we're going to double that amount of bass kicks we hear, or the amount of beats we hear, and then we will have the BPM. Okay, so we'll start there. Now I need to look at my watch as well, so the camera may wobble a little bit. Okay, so I'm looking at my watch now, coming on to quarter, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 27, 28, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. Okay. 68. 60 and 60 is 120. 8 and 8 is 16. 136 BPM. Okay. Why do we need to know that? Right. Let's say, for example, now, okay, I've got a record here. Should have done this earlier, but there you go. Let's take the record out. Try to, with one hand. It's rather difficult. Right. Let's say, for example, now this record here is playing. Now, I know roughly that record there is 130 BPM. Now, let's say this record's playing. You're in the mix. This one's playing. Volume up. Bang, bang. Away. It's playing, okay? That is 130. This one, what did we say this one? This was 136 BPM, okay? Now then, straight away, if I'm going to bring this record in, I haven't got to think, to begin with, does the pitch control go higher or lower? If I know this record is 136 BPM, it needs to go slower, even before I put it on the turntable. Okay? Because the principle is simply this. Your pitch control will slow down the record. As it slows down the record, it is actually slowing the beats per minute. So here it's 136. There it could be 130. There it could be 125, there it could be 120, there it could be 115, okay? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the first principle of beats per minute and mixing, okay? An idea for you. Your favourite records, instead of chucking a record on and wobbling about all over the place, why don't you count your beats per minute on each record? I'll explain again what you do. You start the record, make sure it's dead center here. You count 30 seconds, or you look at 30 seconds on a stopwatch, on your watch, whatever. While you are looking at that 30-second period, you can't count 30 seconds because you're actually counting the times you hear that bass kick. Again, you listen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You count how many beats you've got there. In 30 seconds, once you reach that amount, then you double it. That is your beats per minute, okay? The only time, okay, 2 times, the only time this principle will not work is in live music where you have a live band and the drummer quite often will be out slightly, okay? Also in old school disco and 60s, etc., quite often then they did not have machines that manufactured the beat, making them perfect. But generally you will find in modern day music, 80s, 90s to present day, the beats are virtually the same, timing in between the kicks. Okay, that's how you get your beats per minute, ladies and gentlemen. Lesson 1 for the total and utter beginner on learning how to mix. I hope I've been a help. Thank you very much.